Hey, it's Jeff at 650 Cycle, working on the CB550 build. If you watched the last video, you heard me mention that I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this bike or the other one at this point. I had to think on it, and I've thought on it, and here's what I come up with. I have decided to build this bike the way it is with the parts I have as economically as possible at this point, just to get it up and get it running for this summer. I don't have as much time this year as what I did last year, so I think my best bet is just to get it up and running and get it out so that I can ride it and enjoy it this summer. And then next winter, maybe have a couple parts on hand that I'm looking to put on it for later, and we'll go from there. So get it up and running, ride it, and then tear it down and build it. That's where I'm at right now. It could change in a week, but that's where I'm at right now. It's missing a couple things right now, and they're kind of important, and I don't have complete ones. I need controls. Left hand, right hand throttle. I don't have them. It's got pieces from different bikes, from different models. I think it's got mostly 75 parts, and they don't work on these handlebars the way they're wired. So I have to figure out what to do with that. What I've come up, this one's a GL 1100 and this one's a CB500. They are parts that I've pulled off bikes. They are actually listed for sale, but comes down to it, I can use them for something. And I do believe, you know, you've got left and right and horn and high and low beam. All you gotta do is figure out where it's coming out here and hook it up. And I think I can make that happen. So that's my left hand. I don't have anything for the right hand yet, so I'm still working on that, trying to figure out where I can find something. Actually, I think I might have just thought of something. So the other thing I don't have is a dash. Let's take a look at the dash that I do have. So this is the dash that I do have. It's missing quite a bit. It's missing the lenses, things like that. It's there, but it's missing gauges. Let me show you the gauges I've got. This is the box that has the gauges that I got with this bike. I'm not even sure there's two complete gauges in here. There's lenses, or there's gauge covers for them. There's a tack and a speedo. But I'm not sure if everything else is there. And I'm not the type of guy to put that back together. It looks like a pretty messy deal. The dash and all of that. So I have a couple options there. One would be to use this. However, this mount is a completely different spot, and the dash, the lights are mounted in a different spot, and I don't really want to use them on there. So let's go over there and see. I have a bolt circle pattern about that wide, and if we look at this one, they're not going to fit. It's barely clearing the ignition. That would barely clear the ignition. So it's going to be a tight fit, and I think I have a better option. Let me show you what I've got. This gauge set is off an 81 GL 500. A couple years newer, but my intentions are to find, I do have a wiring harness with plugs on it, so I'm going to pull the plug off the wiring harness so that I don't have to damage this plug, get all this hooked back up. The only thing that's missing off of this is the two screws that hold the face on. These are not the right size, so I have to find some that are the right size, get that attached, get it attached back on here, and this will work for me for the summer. My intentions is to put something else on there for gauges and all of that, so I can run this for the summer and I'd be perfectly happy with it. It needs obvious things, like it needs a chain, it needs tires front and rear, and there's like some tuning type things. If you look at the brakes over here, that's going to need addressed. I need a different battery. These coming in on the wrong side, and it's a little tall, so I got to find the right battery for it. But I have everything else, and I've had it fire. I know it runs. I need some pod filters. I'm going to change the oil on it. It just needs, the major things that it needs are up here, and I think I have a plan for that. So what I'm going to do is try to get that GL gauge set working a little better and see if that'll mount up here. I also just thought of the fact that I probably have a right hand control on the GL that's out there. I just have to go look and see if it is actually out there. kind of scavenging off of that bike. That's a future bike. That's the next build after this. But again, I'm planning on using different controls. I want to put a Cyclotronics electronic control unit in it and electronic ignition. But for now, let's get it running. Let's ride it. No, they're in a different spot. However, this is mounted up. These are in a different spot, so I'm going to have to make some mounting tabs. But the nice thing is that this is up over the ignition, so I don't have to move the ignition. This will mount on there. The GL, this is where the ignition is. It just looks a little different. So I'm going to work on all of that. I don't have a lot of time tonight, so I'm going to go out and see if that right-hand control will function. I honestly don't remember if there's one on that bike, so I have to look and see if it even is on there. I think it is. If it is, then we're going to take that, put it on here. We're going to take a left-hand control off something else and put it on here. Wire it all in, figure it all out. Get this thing up and running for this summer so that we can take it out and enjoy it. So we're going to harvest some parts tonight. I've got a 1981 GL500 that's waiting to be built out back. I'm taking some parts off that I had not really intended to use on that build. I'm going to take them off and we're going to use them on the CB550 build. And part of the reason for that is because I don't want to spend the money on CB550 parts if I'm going to replace them, which is the intent. I'm going to get that bike up and running for the summer and then build it next fall. So here we are in the annex. And it's pretty full right now. Gotta get some of this stuff out of here. Timing, it's the timing of everything. So. Get you over here a little closer to the action. I'm after this module right here because I need a throttle and I need this control for the CB. This is not perfect, but I believe it'll work. The only thing I'm not sure of is how many cables the CB actually uses. There's only one on it right now. But it looks like it might be a two cable system. Okay. She's unscrewed. See if we can get these out of here. Part one, the throttle tube. Oh, wonderful. Come out here the other night and scab the gauges off of this. I'm going to get in your way for a minute. There we are. Now the only thing is getting these things off of here. They actually have to be turned off. That one came off really easy, which is good. It makes this one a lot easier. I'm just going to leave this peeled, cover my motor up, because I might be out after that later on. Everything else, I got my throttle tube, I got this assembly. I think we're good. Alright, let's head back in. I should probably film me get out of here. It'd be interesting. This bike that I'm straddling right now is a XV250. And this one's an XV250. And hopefully, well, next summer they're both gone. They both leave. They both leave me. Alright, so I have made a trip to the annex and I have procured right hand control with the throttle. I have two left hand controls right here, so between the two of them I should be able to come up with something. This one is a CB550. It looks like the case is in a little bit better condition, so I'll probably go with this one. The other thing that it's missing are gauges. I have those over here. Let's go look at those. These are the gauges off of that bike I was just out there getting stuff out of. I've pulled the two screws out of here for Alex's bike. So I got to figure out, I got to get some screws or something to put those back in to mount the gauge face on there and then get this all back together. It should go back together pretty easily. And then I'm going to use this one. These aren't the same width as what's on there. However, it's just a small span to those holes, so it should be a pretty easy to manufacture a mount. The other thing is that this sits back away from the ignition key switch, because the GL500 has the key switch right here as well. So mounting them is not going to be that big of a deal. And I think overall I'll be happier with this than if I went with these. This is the 75. They're just so much different. There's no lights on them. The actual dash lights on this one are all right here. Very much like the 76 is. Let's look at those real quick. See, this has gauge lights right here. So very similar to the one that I'm putting on it, as opposed to the actual 75 has this that has to be mounted somewhere. And I just think I'm better off with this, so we're going to go with this. It's my bike. I'll build it how I want. So I'm working on this CB550, and in working on it and in other things that have come up, my vision for what I was doing has changed some. I've had to modify, alter, whatever you want to call it, change what I'm doing with this bike. Now my intention is to get this bike up and running for summer. I have some time restrictions right now. I would really like to spend some time on this bike through the summer, get it up and running and just ride it and see what's going on with it. Maybe kind of let the bike talk to me. Does it need everything I'm thinking about putting on it, or are we good the way it is? So we'll see. My full intention is to do a full electronics upgrade on this, including Cyclotronics makes a really nice module to do away with most of this stuff. Some nice hand controls, which is why I didn't want to buy hand controls. My original intention was to change the gauges anyways, so I didn't want to go spend money on all that stuff when I'm going to replace it anyways. And the bike I stole it off of, the GL500 out back in the annex, is it's going to be a build, so those parts aren't going to be used on that bike either. So my goal right now is to get this bike up and running and ride it this summer, and then throughout the summer and next year gather some parts and get ready to build it, like starting, like the normal time frame, which is Thanksgiving time frame for me when I start, and work through the winter. Hopefully my time restrictions won't be so much next year. I had an idea, I had a vision of what I wanted, and it's changing. It really is. And what's changed, the inspiration for the change has been this seat. This, I believe, is a standard CB550 seat. It just has this interesting cover on it. And let me hold it up here. So the cover it's pretty much red, but it has some like shades of dark through it. I don't want to say black, they're more of a gray, but it's kind of it's not a bright red, it's not a maroon, it just has this blend in there. and it's really kind of cool. And then it's got this, which I find, I don't know why, just really super cool. So my inspiration now kind of comes in with this, and building something to match this. Why, I don't know. It's a silly thing, but and then I've got a tail piece off of another bike. It's a, I'm not even sure what bike it's off of. It came with that CX that's out there, that GL that's out there, and it's a plastic piece with the molded lens on it, the tail light, and I kind of like it as a tail piece. And then with that bike also there was this. It's a Honda fairing. It's a Honda windshield. It's like forms over the gauges and comes up, and just those couple of pieces along with this might make it look kind of like a retro. Like a retro custom, like an older custom bike, like something that was built a while ago. So that kind of appeals to me too. Don't know. I don't know at this point where it's going to end up. I have some ideas. I have some thoughts. Those are some of them. I kind of want to match this seat just because I think it's so cool. The whole color of it and the I guess it's Japanese writing. I couldn't tell you if it is or not. Somebody might be able to tell me, but I couldn't tell you. So just a kind of a cool seat to kind of build around. And, you know, I don't know what I'm going to end up with, so I don't know. We'll see. It could be it could be something really super interesting, and it could be something completely dumb and ridiculous, but I'm going to build this bike, and I'm going to build it the way I want to build it, and because it's going to be mine, and it isn't something that I'm trying to sell. So the XS Cafe, I wanted to kind of do general things, like things that made it look good, that weren't so much of me, so that, you know, that weren't so much of my touch. If I was building this to sell, I probably would not go with this seat. I would probably do something else. That original root beer tank, I don't think I'm going to use that tank if I can get away with it. I have the tank off of this 550, or this Super Sport right here. I was originally going to go with the aqua blue color on it, which I think is really cool. It's a little rough. It's got some scratches and gouges in the paint, and yeah, you could probably get away with it being the original color and everything, but I really think if I can get that tank cleaned out and working, I really think that I'm going to try to match it to this in some way. Not sure what that looks like. I have to talk to my paint guy. I was thinking either a paint or a wrap or something to, you know, to go with it. Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of where I'm at right now. Like I said, I don't have a lot of time between now and April that I'm going to have free time to be out here working on this, and it seems like it's going to be better if I put off the full build on this until next winter. Get it up and get it running, go ride it, let the bike talk to me, let it tell me what it wants, and we'll build something. So that's where we're going with. So hope you like this video. Subscribe to the channel and you'll see more content on this. All of these are going in a playlist for the CB550 build, and we'll go from there. So if you're out riding, ride safe.